Okay, so it's that time of year. It's a time of year when if you're a woman over 40, chances are you're going to be making some sort of New Year's resolution or maybe a health commitment. And it's also the time of year when we can go so wrong. So if that's you, stick with me here. But first of all, let me just say welcome. I'm Jen Powder. I'm a weight loss and mindset expert, and I'm so excited to help you not make the same mistake that millions of women are going to be making right now. So here's the deal. And I know this because I've been there, number one. Second of all, I've helped thousands of women not do it like this. And I wrote about it even in my book, Stop Sabotaging Your Weight Loss, because there's this tendency when you have come through the busy holiday season where there's been all the things, like all the things. It's been the food, the drinking, the shopping, the wrapping, the emotional stuff, the family, the travel. I mean, you name it, you've probably gone through it. And now we're on that sort of tail end and we're like, oh my God, it's a new year. What am I gonna do? Especially if you've noticed that your pants have gotten a little tighter or if the scales even started to creep up a little bit, it can leave you feeling almost frantic, possibly even like desperate. And then it can get to a point where you feel scared. I know it because I've felt all of that. So stick with me. I think this is what the tendency is for so many people. It's like when you're overweight, you want the weight to be gone yesterday. You're willing to, and that's why the 30-day, the 14-day, the cleanses, those quick things that the diet industry markets to you, they feel so desirable. They promise you quick and easy weight loss, which we know is an oxymoron. If it worked, you probably wouldn't even be watching this video, nor would the diet industry be a $3.18 billion industry. The trouble is they hook you in and they keep you as a repeat customer. And so let me say this for the millionth time, those things don't work. You know it, you gotta do it differently. And that's what I wanna talk to you about today. Weight loss overwhelm is a really real thing. And the reason it becomes overwhelming is women will try to do 18 things perfectly, like perfectly. You've got the all or none mentality where if you gotta do it perfectly, you gotta do it every day. And if there's an oops, it's not just an oops, it's a catastrophe. It is the epitome of on the wagon, I'm good, I'm doing great, I'm gonna white knuckle this, I'm gonna hang on, I'm gonna like use every ounce of willpower and discipline I've got, and maybe you're like good for a couple of weeks. Often we can hang on to something really hard for about 30 days, and you'll see it. You go to the gym because maybe you've signed up for a gym membership or you've got the yoga challenge starting on January 1st or 7th or whatever it might be, and the yoga studios are packed and bar class, and then you're like, I'm gonna also meditate and I'm gonna get a juicer. I got a juicer for Christmas. I'm gonna start juicing every morning. And so now you try to create the ideal perfect morning routine, which is going to include any number of those things. So let's talk about real world. Chances are you may be a working woman, you may be a mom, you may be a working mom, you may be also someone who's married, you may be somebody who's going through a divorce, you may be somebody who's single parenting and working and looking after sick parents. That was me. And now you're gonna add in 18 other things while keeping this mindset that you know is gonna screw you down the road. But for some reason, we like keep it deluding ourselves into believing it's gonna work. But it doesn't, because the minute the kids get sick, deadlines get tight, there's some sort of crisis or curveball somewhere in your life, which honestly, if we're alive, we've got to expect those things. I always say I appreciate having new problems. It's my old problems I get tired of, because the one thing I know is if not daily, then most likely weekly, there is going to be something. And this is where we have to go to what is going to work. The trick to weight loss, it is not sexy. What I have to offer is not going to be as slick or as desirable as freeze your fat. It'll be gone in 5 minutes. It's consistency. It's the actions you take every day. It's the actions you can take day in, day out. That not just when you feel good or you feel motivated, it's the actions that you commit to, because you know not just in 1 week or in 4 weeks of where they're gonna get you 3 months from now. The problem and the joy of being a weight loss expert and having my, a clinical degree in exercise physiology is I deeply understand the fat metabolism process. The other beautiful thing about being a coach and having an emotional intelligence background is and also being a woman, I deeply understand how human we all are and how the stories and that mean voice that runs in our head, and sometimes the pain and the trauma and the things that we've gone through in our past and the fears and the worries we have about our future, they mess up our knowledge. I know that sometimes I'm supposed to eat more salad than French fries, but do you choose it? Chances are you don't. And then you feel crappy about it. You're like, oh, if I was committed, if I had willpower, if I had this, but it doesn't work. So consistency is what you can build on. My first tip to you is pick one thing that you can do every day and be consistent with it. That one thing could be, I'm going to tell you some of the easiest ones, because again, the physiological hijackers for fat loss are some of the ones that get in the way the most, and then we start to feel desperate, and yet burning the candle at both ends, not getting enough sleep, huge weight loss sabotager. So maybe start with some sort of sleep hygiene commitment, and you might think, oh, well, what's that gonna do for my weight loss a whole time 3 months from now? I promise you, and how do you know if you haven't done it yet? Maybe it's water. Did you know that even being mildly chronically dehydrated can impact your mood? It can make you have poor decision making, you can have brain fog, it can make you feel lethargic, irritable, itchy, it can actually even make you feel hungry. So trying to hit that minimum water requirement every day with consistency, day in, day out, that could change everything for you. Maybe another big one is get your protein in. Get that protein in throughout the way. Don't just try and eat an 8-ounce steak at night. That's too much protein at one time. It's about learning how to incorporate good nutrition, not foods that you're afraid of or foods that you think you need to omit or you don't like it so you don't eat it. It's saying, actually, when it comes to weight loss, protein and adequate protein, it's a non-negotiable. Why? Because if you don't get enough protein, your body's not getting the basic building blocks it needs for healing and for growth and repair. So therefore, the body's brilliant, so is your mind. The brain it's a powerful machine, and it knows you're not getting the right nutrients, so then it's gonna be driving you to eat. And it's not like you go to the chicken at 10 p.m. and go, or the fridge at 10 p.m. and go, geez, I just crave a chunk of chicken. No, at that point, you're hungry, maybe you've deprived yourself, maybe it's been a hard day, and your mind goes, oh, you deserve a treat, have a little reward, it's not gonna matter. You already ate that thing earlier in the day, who cares, just go ahead and have it. That mean voice, it's the worst voice. So instead you gotta plan. You've gotta get that protein in. The last thing I'm going to say in terms of the mindset work, because I've talked to you about 3 physiological parameters right now: get more sleep, get more water, and get more protein. Notice I didn't say to take away anything yet. Diets take stuff away. They omit, they eliminate. I want to help you add the good stuff in so we can get you feeling good, feeling nourished, and then you'll have the actual physiological wherewithal and the emotional stamina to do some of the deeper mindset and emotional work that is required for not just a weight loss journey to be started. It's easy to have motivation at the beginning of the year, don't you think? Where's your motivation by the end of January? Where's your motivation by the end of February? Oh, it's in the toilet. Why? Because you stopped taking action. The minute you stop taking the actions, the motivation wanes. And so that's why you can't wait to be motivated. So the one thing that I'm going to want you to do is pick a goal, but let me tell you what that goal should be with my clinical brain, not with your emotional desire. All right? They're going to be 2 completely different things. So you got to give yourself some time. Weight loss, just like weight gain, my guess is you didn't just put on 30 pounds overnight. It's been a slow, steady process, probably over months, if not years, if not decades. And yet somehow we think that in 14 or 30 days we should cure our problem. It just doesn't work like that. When you take a step back from it, you know that that's reasonable. It's not like you just all of a sudden accumulate $1 million in 2 weeks because, hey, you're a good person and you put $1,000 in the bank and you should have interest. Fat loss is the same thing. There's a predictability, a mathematical formula to fat metabolism. Your body does what you're asking it to do, not what you wished you'd done, not what you could have done, not what you used to do. And so we have to work with that. So when I say pick a goal, here's the unsexy truth. Fat loss, if you're a 5'4" and above woman, 2 pounds a week of fat loss, pure fat loss. I'm not talking about the up and down fluctuations on the scale. There's another video that deals with that. I'm talking about sustained change over time. 2 pounds a week, you are killing it. That is exceptional. If you're trying to also go about creating a lifestyle with food that you can see yourself living with 5 years from now, you know that if you do a diet to get to a goal and then you stop eating that way, the weight comes right back on. Don't want to play that game again. Yo-yo dieting is exhausting for the body and for the mind. So pick that goal, You want to estimate it at most of being 2 pounds a week. If you're a mini kitty, like you know how I've talked about the kitty cat and the lion thing, there's a video on that too, then you know that you need to reduce that a little bit, because if you're more petite, weight loss will take a little longer for you. You're not broken, there's nothing wrong with your metabolism. It's simply physiological, which has been influenced, of course, by your genetics. There's, again, nothing wrong. So pick that goal and give yourself 3 months. And then now that you've got that outcome goal, you need to figure out what is the way that I'm going to get there. And what I mean by that is the wish, hope, want, pray method of weight loss. It doesn't work. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't go to that event. I wish I didn't overeat. I wish I didn't drink that. I hope if I do this, drink the green juice, have my lemon water with cayenne pepper, exercise really hard for a week. No, it's always gonna fail. So instead, pick your strategy. What's the strategy that's gonna help you develop that physiological nourishment so you can have the emotional stamina to be consistent? This page is gonna help you. I'll have all sorts of videos released each week to keep you in momentum. Momentum is what you create when you keep yourself in action. Action creates the motivation. Motivation will help you take more action, and that's how we get momentum and flow with your weight loss journey. So if you choose to embark on this path, I'm super excited for you. It means that you've come to a point where you're either like sick and tired of your story, you're sick and tired of like hearing yourself say the same thing every year, and you're ready for a true change. You're ready for a transformation, and you're ready to go about doing it differently. And you know what? That takes a little bit of courage, and it takes a little bit of faith too. So when you get a little bit empty on yours, borrow mine. And you can borrow mine because I've watched women who've done everything under the sun, you name it, they've tried it, lose 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds. And they didn't think they could do it at the beginning either. And then they proved themselves wrong. I can't wait for you to do that too.